and never give it back.
From CHGO, it's Adam Hoge.
I don't think that this is a full rebuild, but you definitely have to retool your roster.
And from The Athletic, it's Adam Jahns.
Hey, what's up, Flus?
And we're going to have measurable ways for standards of performance every single rep, every single game.
Anyway, who cares?
Now, here they are, the Adams, Hoge Jahns.
Welcome in, Bears. 2-1, Johns.
I think if you would have told me that was the Bears' record coming into the season after 3 games, you would take it, Adam Hoge.
Yes.
It hasn't been pretty.
But what if I said they're 2-1, but the quarterback looks significantly worse? Would you have taken that? Because I think most Bears fans would be smart enough to know no.
Probably not. I would tell you
take all
3
with like he at least
no,
looks like
you still
Trevor
take
Lawrence looks right now.
You still take the wins. Come on. You play to win the game.
So you'd rather have 2-1 with the quarterback struggling than 0-3 with what I'm just saying. Just feels looks like Trevor Lawrence.
I'm just saying you prefer them to win, right?
I would say I'd prefer them to have a better quarterback. They're not
Trying
winning
to win
anything.
They're not winning in Jacksonville with a better quarterback playing.
Yeah, they are. They're beating the Chargers right now.
You just said they're 0-3. Okay, I get what you're saying.
What I'm saying is, would you rather than be winless, but Justin Fields looks like Trevor Lawrence looks so far?
But what you're saying, if he's playing that well, would they be winless? I don't know.
Well, sure. I don't probably.
Now
not.
it's now it's just hypotheticals. But what I'm saying is, it's okay to win games while your quarterback is stinking it up a bit.
Yeah, he's and that's like basically his words.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah,
Welcome
he didn't want to use the word ass.
No, he should have though. He should have. It's bad, dude. Okay, welcome in.
Surprise you with that word?
No, because I saw that's what he wanted to say. And that is basically how he played. Well, follow us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Adam Jahns. Jahns, he's at Soldier Field right now as we record this post-game episode where the Bears managed to survive. Like, let's put it that way. They ran for 281 rushing yards. Jahns, you should not need a late takeaway and a walk-off field goal to beat maybe the worst team in the league with 281 rushing yards. But that's how it played out today. And to your point, they got the win. You certainly feel good about that part.
Again, it's okay to win games while your quarterback tries to figure it out. I don't know how I've become that guy because Justin Fields was terrible, to use his exact words, was trash. Another quote from him. You take it this way, though.
Yeah, I guess. I think what worries me, Johns, is this isn't quarterback figuring it out. It's quarterback struggling. Week 1 was figuring it out. Like, okay, it was a bad first half. Second half, he took what was given to him, and he made the throws.
It was in a monsoon. It was rainy. The field was flooded.
I'm confused.
No.
So now I'm trying to give him credit for that.
I know.
Now
so am I.
Now you're taking the credit away. I'm just. What I'm saying is you could live with what you got week 1. The last 2 weeks, he's taking steps backwards. That's what's concerning.
I think I'm trying to wrap my. I thought Matt Eberflus actually articulated the Bears situation quite perfectly. I feel like, at least right now in this podcast, I'm trying to not be the one overreacting to 3 games. 2 played in very good weather, 1 against a very good team on Sunday night. Justin Fields was terrible. I'm not excusing him by any means, but it's still 3 games in this offense. And like we articulated in the preview podcast, this defense from the Texans, yeah, they're not a good team, but they gave Russell Wilson problems last week. They tied Matt Ryan and the Colts in week 1. They've given more experienced quarterbacks some problems this year. You have to give the other team some credit. I'm not excusing Justin Fields from his poor performance. He overthrew Cole Kmet. He looked shaky at best in that pocket. I'm still waiting for him to get to the top of his drop and just unleash a throw, like with some confidence. To use a Matt Nagy word, some conviction, and you're just not seeing it. But trying to keep things in the bigger picture here. You got 3 games, 2 of them played in good weather, 1 against a very good opponent in the Packers.
Yeah, I don't think he has any confidence.
Nobody
right
wants to
now.
hear that right now, but that's the context of the season.
Yeah, I'd be more willing to hear that if it was like sort of, a little bit more give and take, some good, some bad. The last 2 weeks for me have been very concerning. Very concerning. Like I maybe, well, I'm not even going to go there, but there's previous quarterbacks who have been here that I don't remember it looking.
You could go
that,
there. Go there.
Well, I don't remember Mitch having 2 games that bad in a row.
Okay.
Like
I'm trying to
even
think
then, it was
back.
more of
He
like
had
a
some
process.
bad performances he had some consecutive. I want to say he had like 4-game stretches that felt pretty uninspiring.
Yeah, uninspiring is different than downright bad, though. I guess that's the point I'm trying to get at. Like it's a different. This feels different than I thought it would. I was fully expecting Justin to go through.
I guess the exception I'm taking here is you're still okay if they're 2-1, not 0-3. I know what you're saying about the quarterback play. You wanted to improve. That's best for the long term. It is, but you still try to win the game. You still want them to win games, right?
Sure, yeah,
Isn't that the yes? Okay,
yeah. The only thing I was saying off the top was I think that if the situation was you're 0-3, but Justin Fields looks like he's going to the Pro Bowl, that's probably better for.
Well, then, like, my counter argument to that, like, if he looks like he's going to the Pro Bowl, would they really be 0-3? Because if they're 0-3 and he looks like he's going to the Pro Bowl, then you get all the other major problems afoot.
Yeah, probably.
The defense
not.
stinks. Bears special teams is a hashtag again. The running game isn't going off for 281 yards.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You thought I was going to go all in and bash the quarterback. He was awful today. He was.
You're making excuses for him. You definitely are.
No.
He was just terrible. Well, you're there. Tell us more about what Justin had to say, and Matt Eberflus had to say about all this after the
Well,
game.
I thought, again, he articulated the whole situation quite well. I'll read you his quote because I'm using this in my story, my column for tomorrow on theathletic.com blog. When you're working with a young quarterback in a new offense, I think that the people around him have to be solid and have to be good. So that's important for us, meaning that the protection has to be good. The run game has to be really good. The defense has to be really good. In special teams, we got to be awesome. What you do is you support the quarterback while he's growing and while he's going through this. This is obviously a mess today. This was terrible. This was trash, to use his exact quote. This was ass, the word he didn't want to use, but I thought Matt Eberflus articulated the Bears situation quite well. Young team trying to figure it out at quarterback and other positions and still managed to be 2-1.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing, but the running game was really good. I think the offensive line has been better than I expected it to be. Certainly he could have better weapons around him, but I think once again we're going to see on the film that there are open wide receivers. So I think that now the defense made plays today when they had to, and actually they picked Justin up multiple times. They got the interception back after the first interception. They made a huge stop. Justin Jones made a huge play after the second interception. So I guess along those lines of what Matt Eberflus is saying, I think that's part of my concern right now is I think he's getting more help than people thought he would get.
Yeah, but he's still throwing the Dante Pettis, Nequinemius St. Brown.
Open's open. Now, Darnell Mooney can't be dropping passes.
Yes, there's two.
One. Yeah.
There's two. I'm not forgiving the quarterback of his mistakes, but I just think if he's throwing for 350 yards and like a touchdown and interception and you see development, the Bears still lose 27-18. Eventually those developments want to turn into wins. I think what you have is other facets of the Bears are developing. The run game is good, regardless of who's running the ball. The defense is capable. Kyler Gordon's learning on the fly. You have young Jaquan Brisker back there learning on the fly. You have Roquan Smith settling into a new position and being the stud the Bears expect him to be. But again, 2-1 games against the 49ers and the Packers, I think you would take this.
They got to get better quarterback play. If they're honestly, because how many other teams do they even beat today?
That's fair. That's fair.
You know what I mean?
But expectations were so low for this team to begin with.
No, but what I'm saying is you have 281 rushing yards in today's NFL. Like, you should probably be winning by double digits, right? Like, at some point, like, this proved essentially why you need a passing game in today's NFL. Because it's still, after all that, it still came down to needing Roquan Smith, who, by the way, played outstanding today, and that's a great development after last week's poor game. But you still needed the defense to make a huge play for you at the end and to kick a walk-off field goal when you had 281 rushing yards. Like, so at some point, you're going to need the quarterback to give you something more, or this passing, or whoever you want to blame it on. The protection, whatever you want to blame it on. At some point, they have to give you something more, or you're not going to beat the Giants next week. You're not going to beat the Vikings. You're not going to beat the Commanders coming up. Like, you have to get more out of the passing game, regardless of whose fault it is.
I'm not saying you don't have to. I'm just trying to keep this in the general context of what the season's supposed to be. Overreacting after 3 games, trying not to do it. Didn't we just say, like, a few podcasts ago, we need to see a full season? Hell, I even said you got to see it after 8 or 12 games. You have to start seeing signs of it. This was a step backward, but the Bears, they still won the game.
All right, so what else you got there from Soldier Field?
Well, Khalil Herbert was pretty good, was he not? David
Yes.
Montgomery, I don't know. It doesn't sound too good. I know there's some rumblings out there that somebody said he's day-to-day.
Well,
I
the
didn't
head
see him
coach said he's day-to-day.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I mean, that's where it came from.
But you know what? Oh, that's another story there.
I think
Anyway,
Velus Jones Jr. was day-to-day, too, of a month ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like Byron Pringle was day-to-day and then missed most of training camp. And now he's in a walking boot with a calf injury. I'm just saying day-to-day is different for different coaches saying it.
Yeah. But and by the way, I feel awful for David Montgomery in a contract year, to be going through an injury like that. I hope it's not season ending. We'll have to figure out what it is. It would be pretty bad of Eberflus, though, to say it's day-to-day if he's going to have an MRI tomorrow that then shows he's out for the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So don't you think there's at least a little sense of optimism?
I've learned a long time ago not to hold coaches what they say about injuries, like instantly.
No, I know, and I agree with
Matt
that.
Eberflus has specifically been like he's been actually forthright in his secrecy. Like he's not going to give you anything about them.
Right, but it would be very misleading for him to say day-to-day if indeed we find out tomorrow he's out for the year. Like, I'd actually have a problem with that. Just say he's got tests tomorrow and we'll figure it out. We know nothing at this point. Because that's usually what coaches say after game.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
they usually just don't know. Haven't talked to the trainer. We got more tests. That's usually what they say. So you don't have to. So I don't know. Maybe it is a sense of, maybe it is a little bit of piece of optimism. Maybe not. But regardless, sucks for David Montgomery to have to deal with any type of injury right now in a contract year. The good news is, Khalil Herbert looked pretty damn good coming in, and the running game continues to look good. Granted,
I would go back to week 1 where I thought Herbert actually looked better than David Montgomery. Then David Montgomery ran the ball well against the Packers. The run game works, which should open up the play action game, which goes to your question about Fields. But I guess I'm in that corner now where I'm willing to give this more time than others.
So what do you make of all the running on 3rd and long?
Well, I think there's some trust things, and it's also probably a feel for Luke Getsy. And I also have this question, like Matt Eberflus's own effect on the play calls. He said a few days ago how he has input in certain situations. Like there was one 3rd down, I want to say they were like on the 10, like their own low red zone, and it wasn't surprising that they ran the ball, right? It's about field position. It's not taking extra risks. Like I understood that decision. I've seen that before. Matt Nagy did that. And he tried to throw the ball all the time. Like that's pretty standard in the NFL. But there was a few that were like, okay, like the 3rd down draw early in the game where it was like 3rd and 6.
Yeah.
And they were in the Texans territory. Like, okay, come on. That raises questions. Like calls like that raise questions about trust.
Yeah, I really only had two problems with the play calling today. And one was the 3rd and 6. You know, the first 3rd and 10, I understood. Like, you're at the edge of field goal range. You don't want to fall out of it. I wouldn't necessarily do the same thing, but I could at least understand the thinking behind it. 3rd and 18, whatever, or 3rd and 17, whatever it was. 3rd and 6, though, it's like, come on, you got to give the kid a chance sometimes. And then the other one I didn't like was later in the game when he completed that big play to Cole Kmet. I would have passed it again the next play. Like, try to build some rhythm here. You know, try to give Justin Fields that boost of confidence. He seems to be somebody who needs that confidence and that little swagger. So maybe he gets on that play. Instead, they run it the next 2 times, and then they put him in a terrible position on 3rd and long. So, you know, for the most part, I can't fault Getsy when his quarterback's struggling and the running game's working. Of course, you're going to lean on the run game. But those 2 specific plays were the ones I kind of had problems. Otherwise, like a lot of the stuff on Twitter during the game about Getsy, I'm done with Getsy. You know, like, they're running the ball like crazy. Why would you not stick with that?
It's a lot of overreactions. I know there will be a focus on the attempts for Justin Fields again. He went from 11 to 17. But can we just
hit that over?
Yes, we did. What was it, 15 and a half?
You put 15 and a half. He did hit the over.
Yeah, I thought I had a good number there because he scrambles a lot and he gets sacked. Those are pass plays, everybody. Yeah. Those are pass plays. Like that long scramble that he had. Like, how long did it go for? 29 yards?
Yeah, something like that.
That was a pass play. Doesn't go down as a pass attempt, but that was a pass play. Luke Getsy is calling passes, and yes, Justin Fields has to go through his progressions faster and get the ball out of his hand.
Yeah. Well, you might be onto something with Eberflus and having influence. He flat out screwed up the end of the first half, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, by preserving his 3 timeouts.
And according to what Nicholas Moriano told us earlier on the CHGO postgame show, it sounded like Eberflus took responsibility for that. That hey, they were in a 3rd and short situation. They're in 13 personnel. They had to sub. You have to call timeout there. I would argue that regardless, you have 3 timeouts and there's like 40 seconds left. You call timeout there. But throwing the substitutions on top of it, yes, you definitely call timeout there. He didn't do it. I think that was a head coach kind of going through his first, oh shit, what do I do here moment.
Well, and that's part of this, right? That's, again, the overall context of the season. First-time head coach, first-time play caller Luke Getsy, and a quarterback who's caught up in a rebuild.
Yeah, I guess I would just kind of put that in the same bucket of, sure, you can look at it as a head coach going through, his own development. I just think that that's so far into the extreme of obvious situations that I guess my expectation is, as a 50-something year coach, granted he's first-year head coach, but he's been in the game for a long time, would understand that that's an obvious
I think
bang a timeout situation. It looked too much like Nathaniel Hackett a couple of weeks ago. Now, granted, that was the 4th quarter. That was the end of the game. That's way worse, but it just like kind of deer in the headlights situation for me. It's a little concerning.
Yeah, honestly, I think what we're all missing here is like the lack of aggressiveness in that situation.
Yeah. Which that I understand. Like, I understand being careful with Fields, but okay, call timeout, reassess the situation. You got a first down, get the right personnel on the field. If after the first down play, then you decide you're not going for it, fine. But you can't let all the clock tick off there.
Yeah. Well, change your mind then.
Yeah.
Like they went into it. This goes back to the point about the lack of trust in Fields. They went into it not being aggressive. They don't want to be aggressive. They got the first down. Lovey, used his timeout and second down. Then they get the first down and third down. They didn't change their mind about being aggressive in that spot.
All right. You were there today. What is your take, or what did you find out after the game about what's going on with the offensive line rotation situation? Tevin Jenkins not even starting this week. I don't really understand it, to be honest.
Well, I think once Lucas Patrick is okay snapping, he's your center. Can we just be honest about this?
He should be.
Yes, he practiced minimally this week at center, getting some snaps in, and there's still a recovery process going on. His hand isn't where he needs it to be to do everything he has to do. as the center in a very important spot. So you need him going. He's an important part of that offensive line, important part of this team, this culture. And you have Tevin Jenkins, who is still learning on the job. When another person on this roster learning on the job at right guard. Honestly, I don't mind it. It's easy not to mind it when they're running for 280 yards a game.
Yeah.
Like that is good. Doesn't matter who's in, they're running the ball well. And I think the pass protection has actually held up quite well. But eventually I think what you're going to see is Patrick at center. Tevin Jenkins is your full-time right guard.
Well, and I hope that's the case. I just, I think Tevin's been doing everything that they've been asking him to do and then some. So I was just a little surprised, that's all, that they went with Lucas Patrick to start the game instead of Tevin. I was trying to track who was in and out of there today, but it seemed like it was a little bit more Patrick.
It still looked like every 2 possessions.
Yeah. And so, but they switched the order. I love that we got our classic Lovie Smith challenge that he shouldn't have challenged. It's just like for old time's sake, he threw that out there. That was good. I mean, he couldn't have left here today, Soldier Field, without throwing a red flag at least once.
He is 0-3 against the Bears.
Hey, he got that fake.
That bothers me. Yeah, he did.
So wait, it bothers you or bothers him?
No, it bothers him, I'm sure. Yeah, it does bother me.
I think you said that bothers me.
Oh, that bothers me. What bothers?
Yeah.
It bothers him.
Yeah.
That bothers him. Well, I'm sure Dave Tobe in Kansas City, passed that along to Lovey for good measure. Like, yes, generally the concern coming out of here is you need your quarterback to be better. Like David Mills was better, but he still gave up the big interception at the key moment. Like David Mills, 20 for 32, 245 yards, 1 sack, 1 TD, 2 interceptions. Not good enough.
Yeah, I think you saw the limit with Mills, right? Like you saw, okay, he can manage the game. He can get this thing going. He can make the right reads here and there. But now granted, both of his interceptions were tipped. The first one definitely shouldn't have thrown because Vildor had good coverage. After they picked on Vildor early, he made the play when they needed to, and you never want to have an interception in the end zone. The second one, Angelo Blackson got his hand on. So I think that's sometimes you just got to chalk up to the defense making a good play on you. I thought Davis Mills, for the most part, was fine. I think he was better than Justin Fields today. But you do kind of see that limit there. The frustrating thing with Fields is everyone can see the raw talent. Everyone can see what he could be. And so, yeah, you're just looking for more progress, I think.
Maybe it comes in week 4. I still remember the conversation we had about Mitch Trubisky in 2018. His first few games were uneven. He had that very uninspiring performance in Arizona. And there were calls for, we need to see it.
Yeah.
Year 1 with Nagy. Patience is a tough thing in the NFL, right? And I think Eberflus is trying to get his messaging down on that right now.
You know what I think the better comp is, though? Especially for this podcast, this conversation we're having today reminds me of when we were yelling at each other in Washington postgame. And that was also week 3, if I remember right. It was a Monday Night Football game that the Bears managed to win. That was 2019, I think. Monday night, and I was being particularly hard on Mitch after the game. Like, come on, man. These were the games. Like, you just got to make that throw. You have to make those plays.
Yeah.
And that was, in fact, now that I'm jogging at my own memory, that's kind of now, granted, that was his 3rd season, so it was an extra year. Yes, you should be okay. So maybe Justin's not quite there in terms of the amount of starts.
So it's not a better comp.
Well, I just think it is in terms of like maybe how hard I'm being on him and you pushing back. And we saw how
I remember being not upset, but my point was Tariq Cohen's got to make that catch.
Yeah.
You remember that? Like Tariq Cohen, you can't catch the ball and have the defendant rip it out of your hands when it's placed right there in the breadbasket. Like that's got to be caught. And I think with this one is you got a quarterback who's very unsure of what he's seeing.
Yeah, that's not good.
And you try to understand why, right? And again, that goes back to new offense, new play caller. Things are moving faster. This isn't a preseason anymore. He's had one training camp with these guys. Needs help. Like Byron Pringle leaves in the what if Byron Pringle was a big part of the game plan this week, and all of a sudden he's just gone in the first, after one catch.
No offense, but that made me laugh.
Yeah,
I
but
hope
seriously.
I hope Byron Pringle's not the big part of the game plan.
Yeah, but he's supposed to be your slot receiver. He had a nice catch,
remember when he had the
things
double
change.
false start last week?
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's my favorite moment
problem.
of his season so far. Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars up 31-10 on the Chargers, by the way.
Oh, well, here's the other part of that conversation. Has everybody overrated the Chargers? They're not the darling everybody thinks they are.
Yeah. And maybe, and I'm not sure I ever considered them great. Justin Herbert's still good, though. We'll say that. I have no idea how he's playing today, though. Or
that's the thing. He could be great, but they're losing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You play to win the game.
They're in a different situation, though. They're trying to win a Super Bowl this year.
Isn't his rib broken too, or something like?
His rib cartilage, I think, was ripped out of his body.
Yes,
and he just got some
probably should not be playing.
He is playing right now. He just overthrew a receiver in the end zone.
Yes, but probably should not be playing.
Right, you probably shouldn't be. Give our guy Chase Daniel the ball. Come on. What are you doing? All right. Any other final thoughts from Soldier Field?
No, the story is going to be Fields and his terrible performance, his trash performance, his ass performance. But it's a win. It's a win.
2-1.
2-1.
Take the North. Hashtag take the North.
No.
They're going to be tied with the Packers and the Vikings.
Wait, did the Vikings come back and beat the Lions?
I believe they did. The last time I saw, they were on top in they won 28-24.
Wow.
28-24.
I think the Lions blew two big leads there.
And then, although the Lions still covered, right? Got to give them credit for that, I guess. Packers, though, I guess I shouldn't call that a win for Green Bay yet, but they are up 14-6 in the third quarter as we record this against the Bucs. So we'll see how that ends up. But we know the Bears will be at the top. They won their game. And now we see what they can do. I'm going to be interested to watch this game tomorrow night, Johns, to see how, I don't want to say legitimate the Giants are, but as we did on Thursday, we picked this game. I picked the Cowboys because I just feel like Michael Parsons is going to be the best player on the field. But, if the Giants go to 3-0, the way the Bears played today, I think that becomes a much tougher game.
Well, they're probably going to be favored by at least 3.
Yeah.
I would imagine, but Daniel Jones or Justin Fields? At this point, maybe Daniel Jones.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. All right.
You sound like you were going to, though.
No, just very discouraged by the last couple of weeks. I'm glad that there's 14 more games.
The
sun's about to get you.
That sunset that comes over the west side of Soldier Field is now collapsing in the press box.
It's coming right in there for you.
Here's a fun fact about the press box. There's blinds in the press box, everybody, that once these noon games end, the sun just beams right in your eyes. That's what you're getting right now.
Yeah, and you have to put the shades all the way down, basically, to the point where you can't see anything. And it still manages to find you. All right, Johns. Good stuff. We will be back Tuesday with our midweek episode. Start getting ready for the Giants. We'll be able to react to what we saw the night before, with that being the Monday night game, Giants-Cowboys. In the meantime, follow us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Adam Johns. Read all his stuff on The Athletic, theathletic.com/Hoge Jahns, where you go to subscribe if you're not already. You can read me and all the others at CHGO at allchgo.com. Merch is up, obviousshirts.com. Find this and many other things. It's hoodie season. Hey, saw a couple guys at the CHGO tailgate today rocking some of the Hoge Jahns merch.
And there are people in the stands today at Soldier Field wearing the Hoge Jahns shirts.
Good stuff. Keep posting that stuff. And hey, it was a nice fall day. The Bears managed to win. Roquan Smith was awesome. that was a game where you needed your best player to step up and make a play. And that's exactly what he did.
16 tackles, 2 for loss, big time interception.
Yeah. So, all right. We'll talk to you Tuesday.
See ya.